May I speak with the breath of God from the word of God, the name of God. Amen. Please be seated. So I have officiated a lot of weddings, which shouldn't be surprising. But here's what is surprising. The funny thing is, almost all of the weddings that I ever officiated, I did before I was ordained. So my guess is I've done maybe 16 or so. The last of which was Amanda and Travis, who many of you know, are part of this congregation. But the 15 before that all happened before I even became an Episcopalian. And some of you know my story about being a church planter. So I was a pastor, and I was ordained sort of informally by our own small group. And I just ended up making connections with a lot of people who had friends who were getting married, and it was a thing. It was like a side hustle almost for me, but it was coming from my heart too. And some of those couples that I had the privilege of marrying were close friends of mine. And there was one couple in particular. You don't know them, I can say their name. Tyler and Ellie. And they got married in a little chapel near Eureka Springs. Some of you might know it. It's called Thorncrown Chapel. I see some nodding heads. If you've been there, you wouldn't forget it. It's very unique. It's all glass. You're gonna appreciate this story in particular if you've been there. It's all glass, and it's just this like wood frame, and it's in the middle of the woods. So just everywhere you look, it is like a temple in nature. It's beautiful. And so but there was like a whole party, like the whole weekend was a party leading up to the wedding, and all of the groomsmen and the bridesmaid, and I just sort of got tossed in the groomsmen, and these were partiers. I probably don't need to go into details. It was a good time. But somebody probably should have taken better care of the groom throughout that process, because then we show up on the morning of the wedding, and we're up there on the platform doing the vows and everything, and he is sweating bullets. And I'm like, that's probably 40% nerves and 60% something else. But he is having a lot of trouble staying focused. And so as part of the vows, there was this whole, I pledge to you my worldly possessions, and for all time until death do us part and everything. And I had the bride repeat after me, and that went fine. And I had the groom, poor Tyler, repeat this after me, pledging all his world. And he's locked eyes with me. It's like we're having a staring contest. And I'm like, I pledge you all my worldly goods. And I'm like, Tyler, this promise is to her, not to me. You probably should look at your bride when you say that. And this laugh just now, you all laughing, it's not that funny. It really isn't. But this is similar to the laugh that moment got right there in the wedding. People just sort of exploded. I'm like, what is happening right now? I didn't tell some hilarious joke, but I'll tell you what happened. And that's that it's such a high stakes moment. A wedding. It's like where everybody's a little nervous, where they're emotional, or this is something big is happening. This is a life-changing thing. It's a milestone in this couple, and it's been a year in the making, and she looks unbelievable, and he's okay. And so everyone's a little bit on the edge of their seat. And that just makes the tiniest thing hilarious. And I would say I've had more, out of 16 or so weddings that I've done, I would say more than half of them had some kind of big chuckle like that over almost nothing. Because that's just the emotional state that we're in. Same is true of funerals. And if you think about it, if you just walk into a funeral and you see some people talking to each other and laughing, you're like, well, screw those guys. They're not respectful. They shouldn't be laughing at a funeral, right? But most of the funerals that I have been to, and I think you would probably resonate with this, something funny happens. These eulogies that they tell, and the funeral we just had for Bill, those stories were funny, but they were mildly funny. And yet the laugh is big, right? It elicits something that's deep within us. It says we're all in a fragile state, we're in an emotional state, or there's something important happening right here. So it only takes this much, and we're losing it. And I see this happening in Jesus, in the resurrected Jesus, in these stories, in these Easter stories that we have. Sometimes you have to look kind of carefully to see the humor in the Bible, but it is definitely there. And one of it is just Jesus choosing to be unrecognized by his closest friend. Like imagine spending an afternoon with your spouse, and it's not till dinner time that you recognize them, right? I mean, this is what's happening in this road to Emmaus. Or even you think back to Easter Day, and Mary Magdalene is like, "Oh, Mr. Gardner, tell me where you put my best friend." And he's like, "It's me. I'm right here." I think Jesus is getting a kick out of this. And we see the evidence of that, and where they say, he's like, "Hey, what are you guys talking about?" Only the only thing that's been happening in the city all week, and that like everyone is talking about this. He's like, "What things? What things?" And when they say, "Are you the only person who doesn't realize what's been going on?" Well, he's the only person that all of this is happening because of, and yet they're asking him these questions. Oh, you better believe he's cracking up on the inside, just trying not to show it. And then when it's like, well, they've arrived at their destination, he pretends like he's going on, like, "Okay, it was a good talk. I'm headed somewhere over here." And it's this little ploy to get them to invite him in to stay. He's having a great time. It's hilarious to Jesus. And I think that's because in these really high stakes moments, in these really important, these emotional moments, that's when our sense of humor comes to the surface. And especially for Jesus, because look at what Jesus has been through. Jesus has literally been through hell and back, right? And that's true. You could even call the experience of crucifixion itself a hellish experience, which it absolutely is. But then even more literally, he has descended to the dead and has come again. Jesus has been to hell and back, and now everything is hilarious. I remember hearing a story, a hospice nurse told a story, and I don't remember the details right now, but of a man that she had been serving as he was in the process of dying. And so often there's that moment just before death where you see something else. You see something different happening on their face. And for this one gentleman, she relates the story of saying that in this moment of passing from life to death, his eyes opened and his mouth opened in this gasp. And just before he passed, he said, "If only I'd known. If only I'd known." And he laughed. Said, "If only I'd known." And then he passed. When we've seen life from both sides, everything looks different. Jesus in this scene has now seen life from both sides. And of course, in the cosmic sense, he already did. He knew all along, right? But here in his human body, walking on this road to Emmaus, he has physically, viscerally experienced death, experienced hell, and then experienced life again. And now he turns around and says, "Wow, everything is funny. Everything is joyful. Everything is incongruous." Because that's the definition of humor, isn't it? It's incongruity. It's surprise. It's a subversion of expectation. And I think with these two disciples, he's trying to show them that. He's trying to give them a little bit of a piece of that as he walks with them. Because what do they say? In hindsight, they look back and say, "Were not our hearts burning within us?" Did we not have heartburn? We thought it was something we ate. Jesus was showing something else. Heartburn is acid reflux, right? It's the stomach acids going where they don't belong. It's an incongruity. We don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. That's why we call it heartburn. We think it's our heart, it's our stomach. It doesn't fit. It doesn't, and that's why it's so unpleasant to us. These two had not been through what Jesus went through. They were still on the one side, and they were still wrestling with, what is this feeling? What's going on? It doesn't make sense to me. They weren't ready to laugh like Jesus was. And maybe we're connecting, some of us are connecting our own stories to this, each in our own way. Whatever it is we're going through, and I know we all go through many different things, and some of those things are in the past, and we can look back and maybe we can laugh. Because like, wow, if only I had known. And maybe some of us are going through hell right now, and we don't know how anybody could find anything funny ever. And we see people laughing, joking, or having a good time, and it's offensive. Because that's where we're at. And maybe we are on the other side of that, and we can start to look back. But even though you notice that, even though Jesus is having a great time, you notice the respect that he pays. He doesn't get offended at them. He understands that they're going to be a little offended at him. He knows that they don't recognize, that they don't really see what's happening here. Literally, they don't recognize him. They don't know this is their Messiah, their best friend. And that, to me, that's the sort of the character of these Easter readings, is that Jesus is showing up in all of these unexpected ways. Jesus shows up and looks like a gardener. Jesus shows up on the road and just looks like a traveler. Even during Jesus' ministry, people have trouble recognizing him for who he is, and he's constantly subverting expectations. It's like he's doing a comedy tour. It's like the whole entire ministry of Jesus, the incarnation, death, and resurrection. It's like a comedy tour because it is a subversion of what people expect. Oh, a Messiah? Where's your sword? Oh, a Messiah? Why are you dying on a cross? Oh, a dead man? Why are you walking with us? None of it makes sense. And as soon as we feel like we have Jesus figured out, he's on to the next. He wants to keep us moving. He wants to keep us guessing because he wants to keep us growing. And so I hope that moments like this, that readings like this, the stories like this, help us to connect in a new way with what's going on. Maybe we don't have to wait for circumstances to change in order to see life from both sides. Maybe we can accept that invitation right now. Maybe we don't have to look at our tragedy or look at our struggle and say, well, one day we'll laugh about this. Maybe that one day